We're in America, Si. Give me 5.
Boom! After 25 years of biking around the world, the time has come for our most epic journey yet.
Dude, we're on our way. Route 66, America's Main Street. Over 2,000 miles of historic tarmac stretching from Chicago to LA.
It's another Route 66 icon!
This is a food odyssey through the heart of this great nation.
Oh, wow. Yabba dabba do. I don't know how to eat it or kiss it.
In search of the real American tastes, flavours and dishes.
Cowboy beans, look at that.
That's extraordinary.
To discover these dishes, we'll journey east to west through 9 states, finishing on the Pacific coast of California.
Look at that, buddy. Is that the best?
It's a journey through America's modern history.
This road is nearly 100 years old now.
It's like stepping back in time.
And a chance to look into its future.
We come in peace.
We'll ride across great plains
Vast deserts,
and through must-see cities and small-town communities.
In Navajo culture, you know, once you guys come here, you guys will actually be living as family.
meeting the incredible people who populate this iconic route.
Welcome to Mama's Gourmet Kitchen!
This is set to be the ride of a lifetime.
Look at that, dude.
Bon voyage.
We've reached the vast plains of Midwest America, and the third leg of our Route 66 road trip promises to be huge.
We're traveling on the Mother Road from Oklahoma to Texas.
Our journey will start in the state capital, Oklahoma City.
From there, we'll be riding 300 miles west to end this leg near Amarillo on a proper Texan ranch with proper cowboys. This leg is all about agriculture. It's the big industry here.
Nearly 80% of the state of Oklahoma is farmland, so we're going to get a serious insight into the Midwest's farming culture.
And being in cattle country, I'm expecting to eat some meat, and a fair bit of it, expanding our horizons, well, and our waistlines all at once.
Slap bang in the middle of Oklahoma State, our first stop is Oklahoma City.
The cultural and political capital, Oklahoma City, is the largest city in the state with a population of more than 1.3 million.
Oklahoma City was founded on one single day in April 1889, when thousands of eager settlers rushed in to stake their claim in a historic event called the Land Run.
The US government offered over 2 million acres of land to the population on the condition that if they lived on it and improved it, they could keep it. In one chaotic afternoon, a vast empty patch of land became a town of tens of thousands. Within 10 years, the population doubled and a city was born.
A lot has changed since then, but what hasn't changed is the city's love of beef.
Oklahoma is one of the top 5 sources of beef in America.
And Oklahoma City boasts the largest cattle market in the world.
It's another Route 66 icon! We should be able to get some of the best steak in the world here.
Oklahomans love steak, and if you want to eat steak, there's only one place to head for: Cattlemen's.
This is it.
This is it.
Cattleman's.
After you.
Welcome to Cattleman's Steakhouse.
Thank you. Hi, Brendan.
Party of 2.
Thank you. All for 2, please.
Follow me right this way,
It
please.
smells so good in here, man.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
You can almost lick the walls. It smells like stock and beef.
This is a treat.
It is a treat. Oh, this beats quinoa.
There we are. I hope you're hungry for some steak.
Oh, yep.
Well, that's why we're here, sir.
Excellent.
That's why we're here.
Your server will be right over to take care of you.
Thank you so
Enjoy
much.
your meal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a lot of cowboy hats around, but it's not fancy dress.
This beloved eatery has been an Oklahoma City institution for over 100 years.
In fact, it's the oldest restaurant in town.
In 1910, Cattleman's opened its doors to proudly serve cowboys, ranchers, cattle haulers and the like.
Over the years, we've been known to sneak in an occasional lawyer, doctor, businessman, movie star, and even a Republican president. Well, we're in fine company then.
Apparently, President George Bush enjoyed the steaks here too. Everybody seems to love them.
So is this his first steak here?
No, third.
It's just
In third time in 2 months.
to start the mule.
This is cattle country, isn't it?
It is.
Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Very
Hello.
good. sir. Hello, how are you? Hi.
Joe Woods, pleasure to meet you.
Hi, Joe.
Pleasure to
Dave,
meet you.
nice to meet you.
Welcome to this here Cattleman's. What can we get you tonight?
Should we go for the presidential choice?
We've got to, haven't we?
Excellent
Yeah.
choice, gentlemen.
2 T-bones, please.
Let's go all in.
And can we have some lamb fries?
Cattleman's is renowned for its steaks, but it's also famous for another dish.
Oh, here we go. Lamb fries. And thank you. Thank you.
Lamb fries are deep-fried lamb testicles.
They're very soft.
Thinly sliced, coated in breadcrumbs and deep-fried. Lamb fries are a delicacy around these parts.
They're really quite nice.
They are lovely.
If you don't think about what they are, when you have the last one, don't be sheepish.
Here we are, gentlemen.
Wow.
Dinner is served. Take a look at that right there. What do you
Wowza.
think?
Look at that.
That's a steak, isn't it?
I got another one just like it. Look right there. Beautiful looking T-bones.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
I think all my birthdays have come at once.
Oh, man, I'm so looking forward to this.
A favourite among cooks like us, the T-bone is an iconic cut of meat.
It's cutting beautifully, isn't it?
Sirloin on one side and fillet on the other.
That's good steak. Really, really lovely.
It's really good quality beef, isn't it?
Really nicely cooked.
Gentlemen, how we doing so far?
It's superb, Joe.
T-bone's pretty good, isn't it?
I guess you might expect to find great steak in a city like this, but there's another dish that uses beautiful Oklahoma beef that is a little more unexpected. A Vietnamese noodle soup called pho. It's one of the most popular dishes in the city.
Really small downtown. It's where everything's Vietnamese.
It's remarkable.
It is, isn't it? Look, the Vietnamese community here have their own newspaper,
Oh.
and it's in Vietnamese.
Surprisingly, Oklahoma City is home to a thriving Vietnamese community. The beating heart of that community is a supermarket, Super Cao Nguyen.
Come on, this is fantastic, isn't it?
And it's a mecca for foodies like us.
From humble beginnings, Super Cao Nguyen has grown into a colossal Asian market and Aladdin's cave of delicious produce.
It's huge, isn't it?
The store is run by Ba Lung and his brothers.
This is the most wonderful store.
It's remarkable.
This is a family business. My family's originally from Vietnam. We immigrated here in 1978, and we've lived here ever since.
At the end of the Vietnam War, thousands of Vietnamese refugees fled the communist regime and headed for America, many on boats.
A community sprung up here in Oklahoma City, which today numbers over 10,000.
Why Oklahoma City?
In 1975, after the fall of Saigon, they settled a lot of the refugees in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, which is about 2 hours drive from here. And so when all the refugees got settled, they needed to move to bigger cities. And so the first big city was Oklahoma City. And in Oklahoma City at the time, there were plentiful manufacturing jobs. And so a lot of the refugees came and settled here. And so when my parents saw that, they decided they wanted to open a grocery store here to service all the new immigrants.
But it's not just Vietnamese who shop here now, it's everyone.
Including us. It's the perfect place for us to get the ingredients for our own take on the national dish of Vietnam.
So I understand that the fur here in Oklahoma is pretty good.
Oh, I'll take it over anything in Vietnam right now.
You got any tips?
One of the things that I like to do when I make my pho is I actually like to put a little bit of chicken bone into my pho to kind of lighten it up and sweeten up the broth a little bit. It's gonna taste great.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. Hold on, what do we need, man? Well, we want beef shin, beef bones. We need onions, cinnamon, cloves, bay leaves.
Right. Nut peanut brittle.
You seen these sesame cookies?
Oh, look at those cashew nut cookies.
We're getting distracted, Mr. Myers.
Oh, it's hard not to.
Isn't this just the best? It's like an artist with a palette. You could go bonkers.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Fancy spring roll?
Yeah, that's definitely a pie.
Could we have one Vietnamese pie, please? That's great. You can have a snack while you shop.
We're not getting much shopping done, though.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao. That's solid tofu. It's not what I expected at all. That's nice, huh? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. We seem to be food magnets.
Now, you may be wondering why a lady has served us tofu in a baguette. Well, that's because in Vietnam, the French were quite influential.
Oh, yeah.
So, both culturally and in cuisine terms, and left a few things behind. One of them being the baguette and pot au feu.
Pot au feu is the French beef stew from which the Vietnamese dish pho has inherited its name.
Right, now we better get on getting the ingredients for our own version of it.
Kingy, get us a big hunk of ginger.
How many onions, mate?
Oh, just a couple, mate.
Can we have some beef bones, please?
About £4, please. Look at all that marrow that's in the bones. You'd never get a pho that's going to be as good as ours with like stock mix, would you?
No, absolutely not.
No.
You know, and that's the whole thing about pho. It's all about the stock.
One last thing, Bar's top tip of chicken to sweeten the broth, and we're all done.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
To the Vietnamese, pho is street food.
So we're gonna cook up our pho on the street, in the heart of the Asian district, right on the crossroads with Route 66.
This is the most appropriate place for us to cook a Vietnamese pho whilst we're on Route 66. That milk bottle is a 1950s Route 66 icon. That's the monument that commemorates the American and the Vietnamese involvement in the war and how they were there back to back and both sides suffered.
This bit, not the milk bottle.
Not the milk bottle. No, that's Americana.
That's a milk bottle. Go on, put the meat in.
The most important part of the pho is the stock. So start by adding pre-roasted offcuts of beef to boiling water.
How lovely.
Then the spices go in. A teaspoon of fennel, star anise, peppercorns, and cloves.
4 cloves, not more. We don't want it to taste like the dentist's. A stick of cinnamon. Should I put 2 in?
Yeah.
A few bay leaves. Well, that's got to simmer and bubble away until the meat's falling off the bone, because we eat the meat, that's the base of the soup, for about 4 hours. What are we going to do for 4 hours?
Maybe we take a glimpse into our future.
Fortune cookies.
Someone in your life needs a letter from you.
Get writing. Doing Route 66 is inclined to make you fat. Yeah, could be right, that one. Oh, you.
Trust you.
I'll tell you one thing that will come true. Very soon, we will be tucking into a bowl of the best pho you've ever tasted.
So, look at that, Mr. Myers. I've strained the broth, and I'm going to pick through this and then add it back to the stock as we go. What we learned while we were shopping in Bar's supermarket was that he adds a little bit of chicken just to lighten and sweeten the stock. Dave and I are always good like that. We always take advice because you never know everything. It's always a learning curve, which is great.
Next, finely slice a piece of Oklahoma's finest sirloin beef steak. Whoa, lovely.
But alongside the bowl of pho, you serve a plate of garnishes. Now, I'm going to start building up the plate of garnishes. So I want some lime. I'm going to top it, tail it. I'm going to be a nervous wreck at the end of this. I'm just going to cut lovely little wedges. There's me chopping away, and every time I look down, there's a major blooming earthquake.
The purpose of slapping this with the side of your chopper is that it just breaks. Look at the difference. That's one that I haven't beaten, and this is one that I have. And it just opens the grain of meat up. So when it does cook, it releases some of its flavour, but becomes incredibly soft.
And that's your finished garnish plate to go with your soup. Right, soup seasoning. But we are going to put some Vietnamese fish sauce in. I'm going to taste this, because Vietnamese fish sauce is different to your Thai fish sauce. I want to make sure what I bought, really. That's definitely Vietnamese fish sauce. So whereas you put maybe 3 tablespoons of Thai fish sauce in, 1 would probably do.
Before we start the build, we need to blanch the noodles that we've been soaking in cold water for around 30 minutes.
You put your noodles in your basket and you pop them into boiling water and just let them go in there until they're soft.
And you'll feel them as well with your chopstick. You'll feel the difference and the changing texture of those noodles.
And they're done, mate.
Lovely.
That's the noodles, and they're going to refresh in the broth as well. But this way, the noodles are just cooked so.
Time to build.
A little bit of ram, a little bit of curry.
A bit of meat.
Yeah. Bit of meat.
Right?
Yeah.
And now the noodles. Of course, it's a good bit. There you are, mate.
Look at that, beautiful.
And if you remember all the work that went into that broth.
Can you put some of that meat on?
Oh, yeah. And this will cook in the broth that we're topping it up with.
The heat of the broth is gently cooking the raw Oklahoma beef. You can see it change colour in the bowl. A couple of minutes and it's ready to eat.
Look at that, beautiful.
Don't forget the garnish, our Dave.
And that is our pho with garnishes. I'm proud of that.
It's worth trying it at home. Honestly, it's fab.
Give me 5. Boom.
Our time in Oklahoma City is nearly up.
But before we leave, there's somewhere we really want to go. It's a place where Route 66 touches a dark chapter in modern America's history.
We're visiting the Oklahoma City National Memorial to pay our respects to the people who died in the tragic 1995 bombing.
I think when you stand here, you can appreciate the dreadful devastation.
Well, the scale of it's massive, Dave,
Yeah.
isn't it?
The positioning of the chairs was where the people were
Yeah, when they died.
when they died.
Yeah.
Each one of these 168 empty chairs represents a person who lost their life when an American ex-soldier detonated a truck full of explosives outside a federal office building in downtown Oklahoma City.
This memorial stands on the exact site of the building that was bombed.
It's a very moving monument, isn't it?
It is. And it's very nicely done. And there's a peace to it.
Yeah.
There's a serenity to it as well. It's very lovely.
Open day and night, it really is a place of sombre contemplation.
Twin bronze gates called the Gates of Time frame the memorial.
1 minute past 9 represents the last moment of peace and innocence, whilst 3 minutes past 9 on the opposite gate reflects the first moment of recovery and resilience.
I don't know, somehow something that is so devastating, so awful, where we are now has become a symbol for peace, for unity and hope.
A new day and we're back on the road. One thing we're learning is that they love their meat around here, from lamb fries to a good old-fashioned T-bone steak. But there is something even more popular. Oh, a good burger.
Well, I'm so tired of crying, but I'm out on the road again. I'm on the road again. Well, I'm so tired of crying, but I'm out on the road again. I'm on.
Oklahomans love a burger. Maybe because local legend has it, the very first burger served on a bun was made with Oklahoman beef, right here in Oklahoma State, way back in 1891.
In the rain and snow.
But we're here to try a historic Oklahoman burger that Americans still have a major appetite for today.
I didn't have no pharaoh.
The dusty roadside town of El Reno is the birthplace of the famous onion burger, and we've been told that this burger is a national treasure.
The iconic Sid's.
Let's go in.
Sid's Diner is an El Reno family tradition stretching back over 50 years.
Hello, hiya.
Hello, mate. How are you? What a fabulous, fabulous diner this is. It's great. It's like stepping back in time.
What can we get you today?
Well, what we've come for is the onion burger, what you're famous for.
Onion burger.
Can I go a pounder?
And I'll go a quarter pounder because I'll have half of his when he doesn't finish it.
Okay.
Yeah. How long has this place been here, Adam?
This location, 30 years. My dad's been doing this 50 years. I'm third generation. And this is my granddad. This is Sid. This is what the diner's named
Sid.
after.
Ah, so this is Sid.
This is Sid, yes, sir.
So, Adam, why is it called an onion burger? Quite apart from the onions, what's the story behind that?
These are actually called Depression burgers. Back in the Depression, late 1930s, hamburger meat was really expensive.
Yep.
Onions were cheap. We use onion as a filler. And if you go anywhere else in the country and they say you want an onion burger, they originated in El Reno, Oklahoma, right here.
Fantastic.
The Oklahoma onion burger is a burger patty with thin slices of onion meshed right into the meat, sizzling together until the burger is cooked and the onion is caramelized.
It's funny, isn't it, that Route 66 was born out of the Depression, and out of that Depression came the onion burger.
That would be me. Thank you very much.
Oh, very modest. Oh, wowza, thank you. Yabba dabba doo. I don't know whether to eat it or kiss it. This is totally delicious.
Well, isn't it great? That it's still celebrated.
This is kind of what I hoped America would be like.
Yeah.
And, you know, in pockets like this, it still is. It really is.
Oh, this is fab.
My picture was made to mess with my face.
What a great way to make a mess of your face, though.
I know.
Cheers, Sid!
Nice one. Perhaps not the healthiest use of Oklahoma beef, but the onion burger is a culinary legacy of an America when times were hard.
I am a passenger.
The 1930s truly were a decade of despair for this region.
This land we're riding through today suffered one of the worst ecological disasters in American history.
Intensive farming combined with drought and high winds meant that topsoil blew off the fields and it formed enormous dust clouds that travelled across America.
It was a catastrophe known as the Dust Bowl.
Almost 500,000 Oklahomans were displaced. They fled their dust-blasted homes and headed west towards California to rebuild their lives.
For those desperate migrant farmers, Route 66 became a highway to hope.
Disasters like the Dust Bowl may be a thing of the past, but there are still threats to the vast swathes of pasture land here in Oklahoma.
The greatest danger today is fire.
The grasslands of the Great Plains of Oklahoma have seen a sharp increase in wildfires in the past 3 decades. The numbers have almost tripled since 1985.
To help cover such a large area, the state operates official fire services as well as voluntary fire crews to respond to any potential emergencies.
Good-natured rivalries have grown between the different crews. We're meeting the fire crews of 2 local towns. They have found a foodie way of settling their scores.
We're talking barbecues.
We got applications, guys. For the A-team.
This is the A-team.
Today there is a brisket barbecue cook-off between the Weatherford and Hydro fire departments.
Look at that.
He pointed at Alan.
That's a winner right there.
Alan's getting
They're competing for the title of Best Brisket Barbecuers.
Nice to meet you. Hello.
Blake.
Hello.
Hi, you guys.
And we've been enlisted as barbecue judges. There are worse jobs, Dave.
Where are you going?
Ben. How's Oklahoma been treating you?
Oh, it's getting better by the minute. That's not a smoker, that's a battleship.
It is. It's huge.
But look at that.
These pitmasters have some serious kit. Their amazing smokehouse barbecues are bespoke units, hand-welded by the boys themselves.
All right, here's the deal. They think because they got more guys here that they're better or anything. We all know that it takes a whole lot more of them to equal any one of us. So you cut into your briskets, man, it's gonna be great.
We'll give them some of that secret recipe. They need all the help they can get, right?
The Hydro crew in red are volunteer firefighters. The Weatherford boys in grey are full-timers.
Let the battle commence.
Okay, I'll get the top one, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
The barbecue is an American food tradition.
They've been barbecuing in America since the first settlers arrived and has been a part of American culture ever since.
Now, this is the Hydro team.
Oh, look at that. That is a thing of immense beauty.
This is more than just cooking.
There's an art, I'm sure everybody knows here, about cooking briskets like this. Basically, there's a rub, which is probably secret.
Is it secret, Don?
Paul?
Paul?
Okay. Half salt, half pepper.
A true barbecue to an American is food cooked low and slow over smoke.
How long ago did you put the rub on?
Probably about a day and a half ago.
Right, and then you start the smoking process, which takes?
Anywhere from 10 to 20 hours.
And then the cook itself?
17 hours. 17 hours, yeah.
Yeah. This is art, it's not cooking.
This, my friends, is not what you'd call fast food.
This is the Hydro brisket.
Ready for a taste?
Oh, yes, you bet.
Let's go for it.
There are over 2 million cattle in Oklahoma, and brisket is king. It's one of the toughest parts of the cow, so it's not easy to cook it to tender, meaty perfection.
Oh, look at it. It's like butter.
It is like butter.
It's superb. That's a thing of beauty.
That is melting.
You're quite good at this, aren't you? That is amazing. The Weatherford boys have got an uphill task, I think.
Ha! The Weatherford firefighters won't divulge the secret of their rub, but, like the Hydro team, they put it on the brisket almost a day and a half ago.
Let's have a look at this one.
And the brisket has been smoking for over 12 hours.
I apologize for the junk you just ate. If you'd like to clean
Oh! We've got water. We've got water here. Just saying.
Yeah, you definitely want to get that foul taste out of your mouth.
Don't be fooled by this. You know, they're just...
Step away. Step away.
When you're ready, we're just going to cut it. The flavor will say all we need to say.
Oh, look at that. Flipping heck.
That's gold.
I think it's perfectly moist. Texture's great. Nice little sweetness.
I don't think you can choose this one over that one. I would call it a draw, but if I have to pick, I prefer the juiciness to the Hydra.
They say I prefer this one. So it's a draw, isn't it, really? Because...
Yeah.
Huh, probably best, as we are surrounded by a number of burly, passionate firemen.
It's fair to say, both fire brigades, the food's amazing.
It is amazing, like that.
I think the camaraderie is amazing, and I think the job you do is amazing.
I think they're happy with the draw, Dave. They're quite friendly like these Oklahomans, aren't they?
Guys,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
guys.
Big round of
Thank you.
applause for you all. It's fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant.
Time for us to leave these brave firefighters of Oklahoma, and I've got a little Route 66 treat to show you, Kingy. One cunning farmer has sprinkled some Mother Road magic onto his field.
Do you like mazes?
No, I get lost.
That's the idea.
Is it?
You get lost and you find yourselves. Well, we're going to a maze. It's a farmer that grows maize,
Oh,
corn,
Oh, yeah, so, yeah.
but he's built mazes as a form of diversification.
Where is it?
It's here.
You all having a laugh.
Admittedly, we are here a tad early. It's not too impressive now, but it will be 6 foot high in late summer.
Isn't this fun?
No.
It may be a tiny bit underwhelming from ground level, but from the sky, it's truly amazing.
Back en route, we're looking for a farmer called Rod. who was nurturing his soil on one of Oklahoma's very few organic farms. But right now, we're having a bit of trouble finding it.
I'm going to some place where I've never been before. I'm going.
There are around 34 million acres of farmland here in Oklahoma State. So, it's a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack.
We've been riding for hours. Where are we?
Nowhere.
No, I know we're nowhere, but where are we?
No, but this place is nowhere. That's where we are. Nowhere.
Legend has it that this little rustic crossroads town got its name when a couple from California moved out here, and the wife complained that her husband had brought her to the middle of nowhere, and the name stuck.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Nowhere, Oklahoma.
Right.
Population of not even 100 people. Not even.
Not even.
Do you know where Rod's farm is?
No, I don't. I've never even heard of it. Not even anywhere near here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough. Can we have a coffee?
Yes, you can.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
It's amazing little community shops like this survive in the middle of nowhere, literally. But somehow they do.
Ooh, what's that? Peanut brittle.
That is great peanut brittle as well.
That's
right, man.
How are y'all enjoying y'all's visit here?
Well, we
Fantastic.
was enjoying it very much. It's good because, well, we've kind of just arrived here in nowhere because we got lost. Thanks
Thank
very
you,
much.
darling. Thank
very
you.
nice to meet you.
Gentlemen, it was nice to meet you, too.
Lovely to meet
I
you.
hope that you'll have a great time here in Oklahoma.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
That's
much.
really
So
kind of you to
welcome.
say.
We're
You're
so
welcome.
outgoing and country folk. We love to help people. Thank you. You have a good
Thank
day.
Looks like we're going to have to go old school to find Rod's farm. A map.
Well, how American is this? Sitting here with a coffee on the stoop. Where are we? It's there. That way.
At last, we finally arrived at Rod's farm.
It's a huge landscape, isn't it?
Yeah, and flipping hard to find.
Oklahoma's most valuable crop is wheat, but this farm grows sweet potatoes, one of the oldest vegetables known to man.
The sweet potato typically relies on warm and dry growing conditions, which is why they grow so well in this part of the US of A. Us Brits have only recently embraced the beauty of this sweet potato, but it's been a staple of the American diet since the days of Abraham Lincoln.
So we're going to get creative with this nutritious veg.
It's a proper farm, this, isn't it?
It feels like it, yeah.
Yeah. There's so many farms in Oklahoma. Yeah. This is one of the very few organic ones.
I know it's going to be great, actually, isn't it? Yeah.
Less than 1% of American farmland is organic, so this farm is a rarity.
Beautiful cottage.
Isn't it? His little house on the prairie.
Oh, it's lush. Yeah.
It is.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Rod and Annette Ardwin have been farming for 30 years.
How you doing?
Very nice to meet you.
Aren't you?
Hello,
Rod.
Hello, Annette.
Thank you so
How are
much.
you?
We're honoured to have you around
We're honoured to
here.
be here. We'd love to find out more about farming and your sweet potatoes.
Well, we'd like to have you, and maybe you've got a pointer or two for us being fancy cooks like that. Maybe I'll just put you to work while you're here.
Well, we'll do a bit, really. Yeah.
And you can learn the process.
We'll learn the process, and if we can borrow your kitchen.
Okay.
Is that a deal, Annette? Great. That's a deal. This is great.
This is great.
Before we start grafting in the fields, Rod wants to show us the roots of the sweet potato.
Oh, you got some growing
This is
here.
our greenhouse where we raise all our plants that go to the field.
And it's all organic, Rod.
Everything's organic. And down here, the sweet potato plants, because you want a sweet potato plant at least 12 inches long if you can.
At home, I grow my own potatoes.
The sweet potato is totally different than a regular potato. You plant what we call a mother potato in the ground, a whole potato, and it gives off these vines. See, that's a perfect example. That's the whole sweet potato that was planted, and the vines are growing right off of it. But it's these vines, when they're over 12 inches tall, that we cut and plant those vines in the field.
So, Rod, why did you decide to grow organically
First of all, we believe in it.
Yeah.
And I believe there's no doubt it's the healthiest. You know, everything is on at least a 3-year rotation here. That makes all the difference in the world, because otherwise you will get problems that build up and things that build up.
So, Rod, if you're one of only a handful, let's say, of organic farmers in Oklahoma, your neighbors must be spraying chemicals.
Well, one thing you could say about Oklahoma is the people are good neighbors. They watch out for us and try to keep it away from us. And I think it goes back to the Dust Bowl. People had to pull together. They just absolutely couldn't survive. And they still have that attitude here. And they are very neighborly people. I better quit talking and get you boys some plants. Y'all about ready to ride that transplanter, aren't you?
Oh, no, yeah, that's it. We're going to get working.
Be the first time I ever had fancy chefs ride the transplanter.
It's the first time we're being called fancy chefs, I tell you.
I'm going to have to give you guys just a little bit of training.
Yep. This curious-looking contraption is called a transplanter.
Right. This has seen some action.
We're going to turn y'all into hard hands. Now, one of them's going to sit here, but what you're going to do, he's going to take these slips like this, and once it gets in here, it's on its own. You move, don't keep on with your hand, because we don't want to get your hand caught in there.
Right, fair dues.
Yeah, y'all can ride motorcycles. Y'all can sure ride a transplanter.
I need a transplant after this, mate.
Don't put your foot in the wheels or nothing else. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Hey.
Okay, y'all gonna ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Oh, hang on, Rod. Nick my cheeks in the seat. How's that? No, my buttocks got caught in the
Oh,
seat.
yes.
I know.
Why can't we just come for tea? Why do we have to end up like this?
The sweet potato slips are planted in rows, and our job is to feed the rotating wheel with the slips that we cut in the greenhouse.
Oh.
Easier said than done, Kingy.
Can't tell if they're going in proper.
Careful, dude, has your fingers off.
The plan all right, boy?
Yeah, no, great.
Want it faster or slower?
No faster.
As it slowly crawls across the field, the transplanter creates furrows in the ground for the sweet potato slips to fall into.
You're making out all right?
Yep. Oh, look at that! I'm planting. It's the wrong way.
I'm planting.
Hey, look! Look at my row.
Y'all making pretty good field hands, boys.
Thank you, boss.
We believe in doing everything right around here. Hey, you know what? It's going pretty good.
Thank you very much, Skipper.
This here's going to work, man. I'm telling you, I'm glad I got y'all being short-handed. This is working out just fine.
I'll be able to appreciate, like, Dolly Parton and everything better now about life on the farm in Oklahoma. I've got to admit, though,
What?
I don't like sweet potatoes.
You don't?
No.
What do you mean? Every time you come to our house, you do your sweet potatoes. You've never said you didn't like them.
I never had the heart to tell you.
Oh.
Well, on that bombshell, we're all done.
Kingy.
What?
Well, I think we've done all right.
I think we have, mate. I think we have. Our digits are still in place.
All work and no play makes Dave a dull boy. It's time to cook. And as he's just confessed to not even liking sweet potatoes, we're going to cook something a bit different with this versatile veg.
As payment for our planting, we have commandeered Nanette's farmhouse kitchen to rustle up a sweet treat that brings out the best in these special spuds.
Well, there's nothing I like better than a hard day out on the prairie, planting sweet potatoes, than coming home and cooking brownies with me buddy.
Yes. But they're not just any old brownies, are they?
No, they're not.
No.
These are chocolate brownies with pecan nuts and bourbon-laced raisins.
It also contains Rod's organic sweet potatoes, non-finer in Oklahoma. So what you do first is you get a couple, pick them all over, stick them in the oven and bake them till they're falling apart like this. This is what we've done with these two divils.
Look at those.
And so what I'm going to do is split those skins, mash it. You've got the sun.
I do.
You got a face like an Oklahoman farmer.
While Dave mashes up his sweet potatoes for the brownie mix, I'm dicing mine to create a delectable little treat. I'm emulsifying butter and maple syrup before adding the organic sweet potato cubes.
Now, this is quite important. We get that all melted down, and then we leave it. And we leave it for about 5 minutes covered. By that time, the sweet potato will be slightly al dente. Then we take the lid off, intensify the heat slightly, and then we'll start to caramelise those lovely, lovely sweet potato.
The chocolate brownie is another American classic. It's believed to date back as far as the 1890s, but there are many stories about its origin.
So I want 150 grams of this sweet potato.
I like the story about the forgetful cook who omitted to put baking powder in their chocolate cake mix. When the cake didn't rise, it was served anyway.
And I want some vanilla extract in this. 1 teaspoon of the extract. Raisins. Now I'm going to soak these in bourbon. Pretty soon they're going to swell up like the rising sun. It wouldn't be a chocolate brownie, would it? However luxurious without chocolate. So I've got 100 grams of really good high cocoa solid dark chocolate. And just leave that to melt slowly on its own. I'm going to chop my nuts.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Handy.
Chop away. Whilst Dave does that, the bourbon raisins and sweet potato cubes are bubbling away nicely. So I'm going to whisk up the brownie batter, starting with 200 grams of butter and 200 grams of caster sugar.
You'll see when it's ready, it'll start to change colour. At that point, we add 3 whole eggs.
Oh, look at those. You kind of turn the sweet potato into candy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's lovely. You've got the natural sugars from the sweet potato, then you've got the maple syrup on the top, then you've got the butter that's just bringing that all together, and it's going to be gorgeous.
Right, the dry mix. Add 60 grams of plain flour, 60 grams of cocoa, half a teaspoon of baking powder, same again of salt. Let me nuts go in. And finally, a handful of chocolate drops.
So the dry goods just need to be mixed together. We'll swap over and back to Mr. Sweet Potato. What we do now is our other entities, the wonderful bourbon soaked raisins and the cocoa solid dark chocolate. We've got the sweet potato and the vanilla. We add Kingy's batter. Lovely smooth mix. You should see him tile a bathroom.
I'll pour that in. And this is a fold. It's not a stir.
Oh, I'm glad you told me. I was going for a full throttle stir.
You were?
I was. What men do you know that can work out on the prairie, planting out, then come in and knock up a tray full of brownies?
Not many, my man, not many. But we haven't finished yet. We've got to add the dry goods and then those raisins soaked in bourbon.
That'll loosen it up a little bit. Now, all we need to add to that is the triumph that is your candied sweet potatoes.
Oh yes, I forgot.
With a maple syrup flourish. That's extraordinary.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, I'll fold this in gently. Little golden nuggets. Now, just ask your chum for a pre-prepared baking tin. We pop that in there and put it in a preheated oven, 180 degrees Celsius, for approximately 30 minutes until cooked through.
Now we need to melt down some more chocolate for the purposes of decoration and decadence. That is one giant slab of bliss.
Now look at that. That is the Godzilla of brownies. Needs decorating.
It certainly does.
Just put your fork in and start to drizzle it. And this is going to give us an interesting marbly effect. Don't put them that way.
I'm not. It's just falling that way.
Oh, man. It's like a plasterer's radio. Now, we have to mention the indulgent nature of this brownie, but at its heart, we have Rod's organic sweet potatoes from Oklahoma. So when you're feeling guilty, you can feel happy with yourself, knowing that you've given yourself a little organic cuddle. We could call it an organicism.
That's tickled him.
When the work's all done and the sun's setting low, I pull out my fiddle and I rosin up the bow. The kids are asleep, so I keep it kind of low. Thank God I'm a country boy.
Sadly, we'll have to leave our new friends tucking into our brownies, Kingy. We've got to hit the open road to the Lone Star State, Texas.
I am just a cowboy
heading across the narrow northern Texas panhandle.
A starry night, a campfire light, the howling moon's word.
We are taking a detour north to explore the modern-day reality behind one of the great characters in American history. This is cowboy country.
Nowhere embraces cowboy culture quite like the Lone Star State.
We've come 40 miles northwest of Amarillo to the Lit Ranch, and we are about to find out what it's like to be real Texas cowboys.
Monty, hi. I'm Si. Very nice to meet you.
Sir. Monty. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Monty. I'm Dave. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Dave. Monty.
Well, thank you for coming to meet us, because I think we've run out of road here for the bikes.
Yes, sir. Heck yeah. If y'all want to jump in with me, we'll head down to headquarters.
Monty Harris is foreman of the Lit Ranch, and he's going to be our man in the field. Quite literally.
I feel like a steer. Oh, ow. Hey, you there? So what we're going to do today, Monty?
We're going to gather some calves and process them.
Right.
All right.
Head them up,
Y'all
move them
ready?
out, Monty. I think that's how you say it round here.
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
We're in boyhood dream territory here, Kingy.
I can't believe it. We're here. We're found at Lit Ranch, 60,000 acres, formed in 1870. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's proper, isn't it? Billy the Kid used to come here and hide his stolen horses. He also used to bury his victims. This is proper Wild West.
It's like being in a set of a cowboy movie.
It is.
It's John Wayne land, this.
Yeah,
man.
I'm going to walk different by the time I get home.
I'm going to walk different by the time I get off this.
It'll be nice to learn what a real cowboy actually does.
Because this is a real cowboy ranch.
You might well think that the cowboy is a thing of the past, but you'd be wrong.
These days, he may drive to work in a pickup, but his tools of the trade are pretty much the same as they were 100 years ago. It's still boots, chaps, and battered cowboy hats.
Where a British farmer might use a quad bike or a 4x4, these guys still do it all on horseback.
Is this the team, Monty?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you Pork Chop?
Yes, sir.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, wonderful horse.
Thank you.
So, Pork Chop, what we're going to be doing this morning?
We're going to be gathering these cattle here back to the set of pens to process them.
So what do you mean by processing?
Give them their shots and
vaccinations.
vaccinations.
So it's a proper cattle drive?
Yes, sir.
Has it been done like this since the 1870s when the ranch started?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Would you have any other life?
No, sir.
Yeah?
This is life, boy.
This is life.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeehaw. I feel like the Pope. He knows. There. That's you.
Y'all have fun. I'm on ranch in the Honda.
If it wasn't for the Portmobile, this could be 100 years ago, Kingy. At around 60,000 acres, the Lit Ranch is relatively small. Some are over 500,000 acres.
Cattle ranching has been a major Texas industry for nearly 3 centuries. And a cattle roundup is one of the most difficult jobs for any cowboy.
Pork Chop is like a conductor conducting an orchestra.
And he cool, like.
Yeah.
He split his cowboys up to track down the cattle. And with 6,000 head of cattle to look for in an area the size of Birmingham, it's not an easy job.
It's a team of cowboys.
Yeah.
Like real-life cowboys.
Posse.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased that a lifestyle like this still exists.
Texas has the most beef cows in the whole of the United States, an unbelievable 12.5 million.
Pork Chop's kind of the lead guy, and he'll drop off guys all the way around the perimeter of their pasture and then they'll kind of watch each other on hilltops. They'll start pushing them and direct them this way.
I must say, Monty, I think the choreography of it all is quite remarkable. The way that all the boys move.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It is absolutely wonderful.
It's like the real America. It's not set up for tourists. It's real life.
Yeah.
And that's how you get good beef.
Yeah, that's it.
It's fabulous. What a privilege to see this.
It is a privilege. It is. And thanks, Monty.
Thanks, Monty. Thank you.
Pork Chop and his boys have successfully rounded up the cattle and brought them in so they can be processed.
When you talk about free-range farming, I mean, it doesn't get any more free-range than this, does it? Well, it is a range.
No, sir. It's all grass-fed. We don't feed them any kind of supplements or nothing here. They just grass that grows. That's all they get to eat.
That's all they get to eat.
Yes, sir.
The herd isn't stressed. That makes for great Texan beef, I guess.
Well, it's 150 years of practice.
Well, quite.
Yes.
Tradition dictates that after driving cattle, we have to join the boys for a cowboy cookout.
It would be rude not to.
Jalapeno or regular?
Regular, please.
It's a rootin' tootin' meat feast.
Cowboys consider Cookie, the camp cook, the most important person on the ranch.
Tyler, be honest. So is this how cowboys eat every day?
If they're really lucky, they get to eat like this is a pretty traditional Texas barbecue meal. We try to call this the Texas trifecta with the brisket, sausage, and the pork ribs.
Could you just make that gravitate towards... Oh, how sad, never mind.
Tyler, I think all my birthdays have happened at once.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cowboys have been eating out on the range since their heyday a century and a half ago.
And no cowboy meal is complete without beans.
Missed beans.
Oh, thanks, dude.
But these beans aren't like the baked beans we have on toast. Oh, no. Cowboy beans are pinto beans and ground beef in a sweet and tangy sauce.
Well, I bet after a day's work, though, you're hungry. You've got the best appetite ever, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that cookout has really inspired me, Si. I think it's time for us to cook up our own cowboy feast.
And Monty knows the perfect place on the ranch with the best view.
It's cowboy night.
Yes.
You're going to be eating our cowboy meatballs?
Yep, and beans.
And cowboy beans. I got the meat, he's got the...
Potatoes. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut into wedges, and then we're going to half the wedges.
Right. I get to make the balls. Hands are clean, so it's hands in.
I'm going to add 50 grams of oatmeal to some finest Texas minced beef, followed by 50 ml of evaporated milk, a couple of teaspoons of mustard powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder,
and 2 teaspoons of dried oregano.
Oregano.
Yeah, no.
These onions are massive.
Everything's bigger in Texas. So with clean hands, you get in there, balls deep. You want to work it and squeeze everything together. And you really have to work this with your hands because you want the texture. And the oatmeal will begin to swell up.
I'm going to add a little bit of salt here.
Oh, while you're at it.
Yeah. Sorry for leaning over, putting my armpit in your balls.
It's shade. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Get those meatballs rolling. Get those meatballs rolling. Rawhide. Through rain and wind and weather, me meatballs never taste of leather.
Hit 'em up, hit 'em up, move 'em on, hit 'em up, rawhide. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, ride 'em in, let 'em out, cut 'em out, ride 'em in, rawhide.
So what we do now is we move our lovely vegetables aside that's just slowly but surely cooking down, and we take Dave's perfectly formed balls and we put them in there.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to make a sauce, a tomato sauce.
And what a sauce. Tomato puree, 2 tablespoons of organic ketchup, molasses, a tablespoon of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then...
hot sauce.
For a kick on Route 66.
There's alchemy going in these beans.
Whilst Dave is getting saucy, I'm getting some colour onto those meatballs.
And that goes all over your meat and 3 veg.
Listen to that. And the balls are going to cook for about 10 minutes.
But what's a meatball? Without its beans. It's like me without you.
Exactly.
It's just half a meal.
These cowboy beans are not your average beans. No, they're supercharged with flavour, starting with chopped up onions and bacon.
Now I want a green pepper. Ooh. Woohoo!
Then we're going to beef up.
Well, we are in Texas. Just some minced beef, not much. It's just like to garnish the beans. Next, a tablespoon of English mustard. Yes, a tablespoon. In the words of the great Johnny Cash, we want a ring of fire.
Next, add some brown sugar, a teaspoon of molasses, and some hot sauce, a tin of chopped tomatoes, and because we like it, a glug of bourbon, about 100 ml.
If this goes up, I'm toast. These are boozy beans. Now, you may think we've forgotten something fundamental. Beans! These are a big tin of cooked pinto beans. Ooh, look at that. And get your partner to stir them in. Right. Look at that, buddy. Isn't that the best?
Whilst fire works its magic, it's a chance for Kingy and I to take stock of everything we've seen.
Do you know, I love it out here. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
The side of Route 66 is not nostalgic and kitsch. There's also a side to Route 66, which is like this ranch. It's a ranch in Texas that's working, and it's just making beef. Like Rod's farm in Oklahoma. Wonderful organic farmer, grafting out a living from the soil. Yeah.
It's been flipping brilliant.
Oh, and the food we've had. Isn't it amazing?
Oh, look at that. Now it looks like cowboy beans. Look.
Now that's a proper cowboy supper. Woo-hoo! We better go down to the creek and do the washing up.
I think we better.
Yep.
I'm slightly delirious with the sun, you know.
Our trip through America's rural heartland has been epic and put us in touch with farms and ranches still using century-old techniques.
It's been incredible.
Yeehaw!
Yes! Santa Fe, we made it, mate.
We hit Texas and some of the best artisan food producers on Route 66.
Welcome to the farm.
I'm never going to look at a bar of chocolate the same way ever again.
We'll be cooking some delicious food.
That's a fiesta of a feast.
It flipping is.
Discovering a unique art form.
Never been to a ranch that grows Cadillacs.
And it all gets a bit spicy in New Mexico.
Are you kind of chili obsessed?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah?
Radio 2 celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Beatles' Abbey Road album with Radio 2 Beatles, a 4-day pop-up DAB radio station. Here are anti-vaccine activists causing a public health emergency. Conspiracy Files investigates next on BBC 2.